Coach Teresa Ford here, and this is the Guiding You Home podcast. This is a thought-provoking and often humorous approach to moving you closer to the only one who can genuinely help you live a life of abundance and prosperity. Sound good? Yeah, it's you that needs to go within so you can sit in the driver's seat of your life, co-creating with God. So make room for more light and knowledge. As you continue to listen, you will discover elements of how to lead with your inner light, how to act on your specific promptings, and how to follow your spiritual intuition so you can fulfill the measure of your creation. Thanks for being here, and let's dive in. Hello, welcome back to another episode of Guiding You Home. I'm your host, Teresa Ford, and I'm sharing my hard-earned wisdom with you because it takes one to know one. And when I say that, I'm referring to the woman that matters. You matter, I matter, we all matter. And that is the crisis that we're not talking about, is that we are not talking about how to help the woman feel more powerful, more appreciated, more nurtured, more important. Because, there's this thing, this concept in past history that is, I will say that it was in my family that the woman doesn't have a voice. She needs to just be in the kitchen and change the diapers. Like that. It's an old idea, but it did come down from our historical families, right? So in my personal experience, because my mother actually grew up in the Great Depression, so I'm not that far from when times were very, very different. And so, she was the one that had the original Tupperware in her cupboards. It's the cottage cheese cartons and the sour cream cartons, and we reuse those to store our food in our refrigerators. But what's funny about patterns is they don't change that quickly unless you're a pattern breaker. Like, we'll just do what we saw done. And for better or for worse, we didn't like it done to us, but we just continued to do it only because we were unaware of what needed to change. We didn't have a different role model. We didn't have something else to go back and refer to in how to be a woman in the world. Because, even a generation ago, it's not the same to be a woman then as it is now. And there are just so many more distractions, so many more expectations. And I just want to bring it all back. I'm just going to put us in a box right now. We are all daughters of God. We all matter to our Heavenly Father. And when that becomes our focus, we will come home to ourselves. This is who we are. We're light and love. Okay. And then after that, we get to pick and choose what we're going to involve ourselves in. It might be raising a family. It might be working outside the home. It might be both. It might be volunteering in your community somehow. It might be rescuing children. It might be, whatever you're built to do. Fantastic. That's what I think. I think the emphasis on women being powerful has been overstated because we've been powerful all along. We are the heart of the home. We are the heart of the community. We are, just because of our eternal, emotionally intelligent nature. It's our feminine energy, if you will. Of course we have feminine energy. We also have masculine energy. And when we put the two together, it's a really nice balance. And when we use them in healthy ways, now we're cooking with gas. We're on our way to really living according to our purpose. And we're being led to what is best for us. But if we're not being led, then we're masquerading as something that would be acceptable to society. We're trying to be perfect so nobody knows we have needs. We're dysregulating in our nervous system And it's not serving anyone, because now we're just trying to fake everybody out so they can't see what's happening behind closed doors. If you're not the same person out in public as you are behind closed doors, and I don't mean like bedroom slippers and, that sort of thing. I mean your personality, your temperament, your characteristics. If you are putting on a show outside, and we've seen this on social media, right? It's like, we don't know what's real, what's not. Like, apparently this person on social media doesn't have any problems in the whole world, and that's just never, ever, ever going to be the case. And so we suffer by comparison. We suffer by, looking at all the noise out there and not taking a really good look at what's going on here, because that's really the only thing that matters. Are you developing a relationship with your Heavenly Father? Are you living in alignment with the daughter of God that you are? So if this is a crisis, we're going to go ahead and say it's a crisis that nobody's speaking about, because honestly, if you're dysregulated, that is what's running your life. And so if you're not familiar with the emotional work that I do, or the nervous system regulation work that's included in that, your nervous system is running the show. And your nervous system is just a product of everything you've ever experienced in the past. For better, for worse. You missed the school bus. Your nervous system, like, oh no, how am I going to get to school? One time I was like, 6, and I was on the bus and I was just zoning out, looking out the window, and I totally missed my bus stop to get off. And I was trying to figure out at 6 years old how I was going to get home. And I don't know why this memory just now popped up, but I sat there and cried and panicked, because I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get home. And I didn't have the kind of family that I thought, well, I'll just call my mom. No. There was no one there actually to take care of me emotionally, to nurture me. And if I had a problem, I was definitely going to get in trouble for having a problem. So I sat there and panicked on the bus as it drove to all the other kids' bus stops, and I'm still sitting on the bus. And luckily, because I had never experienced the bus route after my stop, and luckily it went down the street right behind my house, and I got off the bus and I was able to get home very easily through the alleyway, and I solved my own problem. And I never told my parents, because they would have been really mad that I wasn't paying attention to get off the bus on my stop. I would have made a mistake. And these are the things that are embedded in our nervous system. The times that we were called to be up at the chalkboard to, perform in a spelling bee, and everybody was watching, and you didn't get the word right. If you had emotional support at home, that your parents were like, that's okay, no problem, you did your best, good job. Or you had parents that would stonewall you if you got any words wrong, because you were an embarrassment to them. Your nervous system is remembering all of that. And now in your current life, dysregulation in the nervous system is you are operating on the negative side of things. You're waiting for the other shoe to drop, or waiting for, someone to disapprove of us. We're working really hard not to be criticized. We care a lot about what other people think of us, and we fear judgment most of all. Like those types of things. If we were taught that in our childhood, or it was modeled to us, like, what will your teacher think? What will the people at church think? What will the neighbors think? Those are things that we have considered our entire lives because it's what was important to our parents, right? So that's in our body. And so if we're dysregulated because we're operating from anxiety, fear, perfectionism, we are exhausting ourselves. An internal state of being that shapes the emotional climate in our homes, in our communities, and why healing that generational trauma. And I'm going to insert a little piece right here. Trauma is anything we did not process. So our nervous systems are built to pendulate between fight or flight, or even freeze or fawn. and back to rest and digest. If we have always been in fight or flight, then there's a good chance we have not learned or we have forgotten how to pendulate back and forth to rest and digest, where everything is safe and well again. So if we had a bad experience and then we had nurturing to help us process the experience, then we went and pendulated back to rest and digest. So like the school bus incident that I experienced, I didn't pendulate back. I was just so afraid she would find out. So I stayed in fight or flight. So can you see that? Like if I had come home, I was like, Mom, I missed my bus stop, and I was really scared for a while. And then I came home and I figured out how to get off the bus at the right place to get through the alleyway and come home. If she had been like, oh my gosh, are you okay? That would have been kind of scary. I can see. I'm so glad you're home. Something. If I had been able to talk to her about it, it would have helped me co-regulate with an adult to help my nervous system find safety again. But because I was so afraid of being criticized, shunned, isolated, punished, then I didn't say a word. And all that scare and fright and fear just stayed in my body. It didn't process anywhere. I just stayed in fight or flight. It's like, I hope my brother doesn't tell on me. I hope that, she never finds out. I hope the bus driver doesn't say anything. I was thinking of all the ways to get me in trouble. So when your body has had experiences in the past and you have not had somebody to help you co-regulate, help you work through the energy so that the anxiety goes right back into peace, right? That's the co-regulation that's required to learn how to stay safe. But if we didn't have that, now we are actually operating in a place where our nervous system is leading our lives, and it might not be from a regulated state. It might be from dysregulation. So now we're performing, we're trying to outperform, we're trying to, overcome the comparisons that we see. We feel jealous because somebody else is getting more attention than we are, and then we feel victimized, and then that is setting a tone for our entire lives. They talk about manifestation out there and everything. Is really the deciding thoughts. It's the thoughts you think about, the stories you constantly tell yourself. And that is the culmination of your life experiences, basically. It's everything that's ever happened in the past. It's in your body. Your body knows it, and it recognizes it in the now, right? So if you are experiencing something right now, right now, and you hear something and you feel an emotion come up, you sense that yucky gut soup in your body somewhere, that could be that because there is a hint, a sense, or a flavoring of an experience you had in the past, even if you don't have a conscious memory of it. So you're literally sitting there with a past experience going on in your body and your nervous system, because it was a thought. That would be terrible. As an example, your nervous system's like, woo, that's not a good sign, sends out a chemical soup in your body. It's like, woo, this feels a lot like when we were 7, X, Y, and Z happened. And then, even if you're not thinking about that memory, your body remembers the memory. And that's what we call a trigger. And now that trigger is present in our lives. And that's how we are operating in the world, is from triggers or memories and senses, hints, and flavorings of something that happened long, long time ago when we felt helpless to change it. And it's happening now, and we still assume the helplessness we felt back there is still a problem now. But probably a very high percentage of the experiences we have now are not because we're helpless. It's just it's a memory of being helpless. It's a memory of not being appreciated. It's a memory of being in trouble. It's a memory of avoiding criticism. So if that's all in the body, but we're not working on her, we are not free. So I have created the Empowered Woman's Journey to Freedom, because if we don't set ourselves free, we just loop in these patterns. We stay stuck for generations. We keep doing what we saw our parents do, good or bad, and we keep doing that because it's the only model we have. But if we can start to see ourselves differently, we can start to recognize how we're really feeling. We start to get a hold of the thoughts we think about. Guess what? If you can name it, now it becomes a choice, not a habit. You can decide, I want to go do it again because the loop is so fun, or I can get out of it. Like, I can do something different now. I have alternatives now. And I think that's the most important idea in this podcast episode, is that we can choose differently when we know what needs to be chosen differently. If we can name the thing we're doing, self-abandonment, self-deprecation, self-doubt. If we know what we're doing and we're trying to avoid the worst case scenario, and so we're doing the thing that causes us to self-abandon so that the worst case scenario doesn't happen, that is your emotional thermostat. Like, that's the temperature that your whole life is operating from. So we can improve it. We don't have to walk around with our air conditioner on, at sub-0 degrees in the middle of winter and be super uncomfortable. We can actually set it at a comfortable 72 in the house and enjoy winter that is outside the window. Can you kind of see, like, emotional thermostats? That's kind of a fun idea, that we are setting the temperature. We can be miserably hot. We can be miserably cold. We can be just right. It's like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Literally, we can have the best experience. We can have a terrible experience. We can have a less terrible but not ideal experience. And the choice is ours. And so if we think we're stuck, we're right, unfortunately. But if we think that we have choices, we're also right. And that is really a powerful mindset to start to operate from, is that being right about the thing you want is going to get you a better result. You're going to have more of a regulated nervous system. So here's the difference. Like, let's say you want to get a raise at a job. Let's say that there's a job that you're like, ooh, I'd be so good at that. And then you go learn a couple extra skills. You love it. It's fun. It's something you wanted to do. And you show up and it's just bringing you life and you get the job. That is the emotional thermostat that's set just right. There is a really powerful, positive energy there. There is no fear involved, right? That is the shift. I always talk about this on the emotional scale, that anything from that's okay to that's fantastic is on that emotional positive side of the scale. And then the negative side of the scale is, I hope it doesn't go wrong. I hope it's, I get the job. Somebody else might beat me to it. And so if you're playing not to lose, right? You're putting in a lot of effort, but you're stressing about it. You're assuming the worst about it. You found all the ways why this is not going to turn out for you because somebody else in the office is teacher's pet and blah, blah, blah. Like, if you're focused there, like, you're either freezing or you're too hot and it's really uncomfortable and it's just not fun, right? The whole idea is to become fully alive in life, to have fun, enjoy. Life is giving you life, and you're just going for the things that light you up because they're in you to do. That is how you use your nervous system to set the emotional thermostat so it's just right for you. But if we are operating from those old patterns of trying not to lose, trying not to get criticized, trying not to get judged, that could be very embarrassing. I don't want anyone laughing at me. I like all those things in the past. You're not going to take a risk. You're not going to step out of your comfort zone because staying stuck feels safer to your nervous system than doing something that's way outside the box, going for the goal. Yeah, because fear's involved. I was watching this, what was it, a show? This woman wanted to scream and she couldn't. she was like, oh, no, I'm not going to make waves. I'm not going to make a big scene. I'm not going to, but screaming actually would have let these emotions out because she was in a situation that caught her off guard. And if she had screamed, all that energy of something that happened in the moment would have been gone, and our nervous system could have pendulated back. But if you've been taught, I don't want to hear you, children are to be seen, not heard, like, don't make a big deal, don't be too much, don't be loud, don't be obnoxious. Like, if that's all been taught, and you feared the absence of love from your parents, if you were any of the things you weren't supposed to be, there's a good chance that something catches you off guard, you're going to swallow it. It's just going to go, and we're going to like, you didn't see me be scared. You didn't see me react. Like, everything, all that shock and awe just stays in your body. And that is dysregulation. And anything else that comes up in the future that has any sense, hint, or flavoring of that shock and awe will stay in your body if you don't feel free to let it out, right? The freedom to express yourself is key. The freedom to believe everything is possible is the key. The freedom to change your mind, your behavior, your habits is the key to your freedom. So, if you feel like you need a decade-long break from your entire life, there is a chance that you haven't felt all that free. And that is the point, is to set ourselves free to express ourselves, free to go after the big goal, free to take a risk, free to not worry about what other people think of you. The freedom to be yourself completely in the public, behind closed doors, that freedom is life. That's everything. So just make sure that you're checking in with yourself. That's how you know. That's how you know. Like, am I holding myself back because someone might think something might be embarrassing, it would go against what was expected of me as a child? Check. Are you trying to go after something that's dangerous? Are you trying to go after something that would be a detriment to other people or yourself? No, you're not, because you're not that person. You're trying to go after things that would bring you more life. So then we have to check, why am I setting myself up for discomfort in my life instead of going after the things that would really bring me to life? So there is an essence here. I think before we hop off this episode, I really want to speak to hyper independence, because it's the same as the scream. If we're not going to let the scream out, if we're not going to let that energy go so that we can pendulate right back to rest and digest, we can get right back into feeling peaceful and safe, then the scream stays inside of us. And that's what hyper independence is. If we didn't have parents that we could depend on, if we couldn't go to them and have them help us with a problem and solve it and feel safe about it and feel good about ourselves still, we're not self-deprecating and blaming ourselves for making our parents unhappy, but it's the exact opposite of that our parents totally understood. They gave us permission to do what we needed to do to fix the situation. Like, if we had the nurturing, we didn't have to be super independent as a child. But if we didn't have the nurturing, we had to figure out how to solve our own problems, like getting off the bus on time, right? Figuring out how to get home when you missed your bus stop, like that. That was a problem I didn't know how to solve. And I knew I didn't have parents that would help me solve that. I mean, they would have. Like, if I had gone all the way back to the bus barn, they would have made me call my parents. They would have come to get me, and they would have been like, "Oh, thank you for saving our daughter." And then in the car, I would have gotten very berated. That's just how my life was. So my fear would have been embedded in the thing I didn't want. I didn't want my parents to be disappointed in me. And so solving my own problem really did help me. But then it became my enemy as I got older, because I really never had anybody that I could lean on and ask for advice. What should I do? How should I do this? I don't know what I'm doing. Can you show me? Like, I never had anybody to show me those things. And that's called hyper independence. It's like, don't worry, I just do it myself. I don't need any help. I don't need support. I don't need you to pick up any of the loose ends. I got it. Right? That's hyper independence. That's the scary part, because that's what causes the burnout. That's why you're exhausted. That's the hidden crisis nobody talks about, is that you are just going to do it yourself. If you want something done, you do it yourself. The old adage is like, no, if you want something done, you teach others really closely how to do their jobs well, and then you delegate. That is the goal, that you delegate. So the hyper independence is that you don't want anyone to see that you're tired, that you have needs, that you are struggling in any way. So we're, bright and shiny, and it shows up as strength. She's got it all together out in the world, but behind closed doors, it's just too much. It just builds and builds and builds, and then we spiral, and we lose our footing in life. And it's just not satisfying, right? It's just not going to be satisfactory to you, because that's not your potential, is to play small, burn out, not take risks, repeat generational habits and patterns that no longer serve you. Yeah, that's just not going to be okay with you. And so if there's coping mechanisms, they're self-soothing behind the scenes just to try and fill the void of what you fell short of. That's when we need to do the work. The Empowered Woman's Journey to Freedom sets you free, because you really go in and on the micro level, and you take a look at the thought patterns and the habits and the generational stuff that was taught to you that wired your brain a certain way before the age of 7. And then you have been working and living and doing your very best every day based on the memory in your nervous system in your body to keep yourself safe. You just want to feel safe. And sometimes staying safe in the yucky patterns is where we choose to stay, because again, it's what's normal. So it does feel safe. We've learned to survive in that loop. But if we change that loop, if we move it into a new space where the loop can serve you, and when I say a new loop, I mean just the habit of thought that turns into a pattern over time, and a belief system that helps move you into freedom, that you don't owe anybody anything, that you can express yourself fully, that you can solve your problems, that you can reach out for help with your problems, right? That is a completely different way of being that sets you free. Because we all need people. No one gets to the top of a mountain alone. We need support. And we're not meant to solve all of our problems on our own. Yes, we can go to God. Yes, we can build that relationship so we have constant guidance. But we also need each other. And the healthier the woman is, the more support we'll have in moving in a direction that lifts us all. Like, that's the collective, right? So when you have your energy and it's fully embodied, it's not fragmented out there, giving everybody our power, giving our power away, and thinking that, we're trying really hard not to lose. But the goal here is to nurture the woman that everyone depends on. Yes, independence is good. Hyper independence, not so much, because we have to mask what's really going on. So independence is good, and it breaks that cycle and that pattern of the past of being hyper independent, hyper quiet, hyper, I will just be the good girl and follow what would make my parents happy. So in this vein of hyper independence, there is a hint of grief, because we've lost ourselves, lost the support that we've really needed over the years. And it's not meant to work that way. We are meant to have support. We are meant to be our own support, but we're also meant to have other people in our lives that we can call on, depend on, and ask for support. Maybe it's just a lunch date. Maybe it's a phone call. Maybe it's just, supportive texts. And it's not because you're not doing the work here, but if you're trying to break out of a pattern from the past of what a woman ought to be doing, and you're not listening to yourself, there's probably a couple things going on. Could be hyper independence, and it could be just codependence. And if either of those are going on, we're not actually getting into the vein of you being free to be you, free to do what you were born to do, free to offer your gifts to the world, free to influence your family, free to influence your community for good. That's the goal. So I hope that this has brought you some golden nuggets. I hope that you are finding some of the answers you're looking for in this podcast. If there's anything I can do to help you, if you want to join the Empowered Women's to Freedom, please click on the link below, and I will see you soon. Thank you, my friends. Bye. Thanks for listening. I invite you to leave your feedback and share your aha moments as you listen to this podcast. Also, you can access more information or any of the programs, courses, or worksheets that I've mentioned on these episodes on my website at teresaford.life. Or what I would really love is for you to connect with me on Instagram at teresaford.coaching and on Facebook at Coaching with Teresa Ford, so I can give you more interesting insights and further coaching to help you fulfill the measure of your creation.